Now we've actually found an avenue where we can actually take that cardiovascular adaptation and apply it to recovery. And that's like,
So yeah, it's really important, especially the increase in blood flow for diabetic patients who have poor blood flow to their extremities, their hands, their feet, stuff like that. Same thing with Raynaud's disease. If we can get increased blood flow, it's going to warm those hands and those feet up, and we're going to have less symptoms.
all of that compounds into things that damage our cells. And we need to take every option that we can in order to help repair those damaged cells.
I'm very protective of my sleep, and my infrared sauna makes me sleep like a baby. It helps me fall asleep, but also if I wake up in the middle of the night, it helps me fall back asleep.
Those heat shock proteins are also responsible for decreasing likelihood of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's.
Awesome. Yeah.
Probably
It's all good things in this one. All right, welcome to the Sweat Fanatic Podcast, where we talk all things sweating. We get into infrared saunas. We'll talk hot rock saunas, hot yoga, whatever we need to talk about that will make us feel better and improve our health. So thank you for joining on this episode. I got my two friends, Morgan Oswald with Good Health Saunas.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. A chiropractor, been in the industry for almost 2 decades, if not even longer. So very valuable resource. And then I got Jordan Robe.
Back for more, baby.
Yep. Personal trainer, phenomenal with how the body works and sports science and conditioning and all that type of stuff. Personal trainer, my personal trainer, and been in the sauna industry for many, many years as well. So thanks for coming on again.
Absolutely. I think I'm wearing the same shirt as the last one. So
Yeah.
sorry for the duplicate out.
It's all good.
Makes you look jacked.
Thanks. Tapered sleeves.
So I was just throwing out clothes the other day, or donating them to Goodwill, and I had got rid of so many shirts that fit me right here, but right here were really tight. And Claire, Claire was like, I was like, should I keep these or get rid of them? And she's like, you're not that guy. I was like, okay. So off to Goodwill they go. So yeah. All right. So this episode, we're going to come at from the angle of, I have decided I want to buy an infrared sauna. So my spouse is on the fence. So I need to talk my spouse into the fence, or from the fact of, hey, what do these things do? What health benefits? Why would I even buy one? Why should I be interested in one? And what will happen when I start using one on a regular basis? So let's talk the $1 million question or answer. If I have to say one health benefit, like the most important health benefit that an infrared sauna can provide me, it's going to be different for every person. But if I have to pinpoint the main reason people use one, or the number one health benefit, what is that? And let's start with you, Morgan. What's that answer?
I think that's a really tough question, but going back to kind of what you were talking about, normally there's one person that wants to buy the sauna. The other person maybe doesn't really care, doesn't have any interest in it. But the feedback we end up getting is that the other person, the spouse that really wasn't interested, uses it just as much, if not more, than the person
We hear that
wanted
all
to buy
the time.
it. It's pretty much every single time. I think the beautiful thing about the infrared saunas is it's really systemically the broad spectrum of what it does for the body, from the cardiovascular health to longevity, to anti-aging, to inflammation reduction, to detoxification. You're really not going to buy another product that's going to give you that broad of a spectrum. And I hear you talk about this. It's not like a vitamin, right? Or it's not like some of these things that people start taking and you never really notice. I'm sure they're good for you, right? I mean, we need those things. We need those supplements. We need alternative stuff. But I feel like the immediate gratification, that you're getting during the sauna, you just feel euphoric. You feel amazing. You get out. And it's one of those things that kind of kickstarts you into maybe that wellness journey where you start eating better, right? You start wanting to work out, you have less pain. I'd say one of the biggest things in this country, heart disease is the biggest killer in the United States. And you start looking at the benefits, and we track this with, our apps that we have and our, Apple Watches, but you can actually see the heart rate doubling, sometimes tripling while you're in the sauna. So, just getting the body moving, getting the cardiovascular system stimulated, there's so much that comes from that. High blood pressure can decrease, risk of heart disease, all-cause mortality. You just feel so much better. So I think prevention for heart disease, cardiovascular benefits in general probably be the number one thing it's with. And that's something that not necessarily is going to be something you notice immediately, right? But long term, that's the preventative part.
I can share my experience because before I started using one on a regular basis, I had a heart rate in the high 80. Now it's consistently in the low 50, sometimes in the 40s. And borderline hypertension to perfect blood pressure.
Wow.
So, and it happened after using an infrared sauna consistently on a regular basis over a couple of years. So perfect. Cardiovascular, huge benefits. Jordan, let's touch on some of those cardiovascular benefits as well.
Yeah, because they're all interrelated. And what's funny is you have, two different spouses, and one's like, hey, honey, I'd like to live longer. And the other one's like, oh, I'm not really sure. That's what's always kind of funny when you word it that way, when you really think about like what this does for you. Because guys, the research is there. We're to that point now, and
there's no ifs. It will.
None. Now it has to be a good infrared sauna. It can't just be any infrared sauna. But we're there, and basically how this is all interrelated. And you talk about cardiovascular health, which to be able to get a passive cardiovascular workout is an absolute game changer. Absolute game changer. In our lifetime, we lived in a world where if you wanted to increase your heart rate, you had to do some form of activity. And this is not a PSA to stop exercising. That's not what this is. But we lived in this era of you have to go for a run, have to go for a walk. You have to climb the stairs. You have to ride the bike. Now we've actually found an avenue where we can actually take that cardiovascular adaptation and apply it to recovery. And that's like, you're telling me that I can improve my cardio performance while recovering at the same time? We've never found anything like this. Now, like traditional saunas have been doing this for a long time, but what these infrareds do, and my favorite health benefit, is how much deeper these infrared saunas actually target the body. And what research has found is that these infrared saunas do such a better job of increasing blood flow into the deep tissue area where that's really where we need it the most. This is where you're getting help with anything ranging from just joint pain, arthritis, autoimmune disease, sciatica, probably the most common things that I see when a client comes in. Now there's an actual thing I can apply to them that says, hey, I want you to use this 3 to 5 times a week, 30 to 60 minutes. You're going to see a benefit, and I can rest you and recover you for your next workout at the same time. No brainer for me, honestly.
Yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, sign me up.
So yeah, it's really important, especially the increase in blood flow for diabetic patients who have poor blood flow to their extremities, their hands, their feet, stuff like that. Same thing with Raynaud's disease. We have poor blood circulation in our hands and our feet, and they turn purple, white, very cold. If we can get increased blood flow, it's going to warm those hands and those feet up, and we're going to have less symptoms. Plus getting the nutrients and the oxygen to the injury sites to repair and nourish and all that type of stuff. It's blood flow is huge. Cardiovascular is huge. And everybody that uses one experience it. It's not a health benefit. You can say, you know what, I'm not going to get when I use infrared. You are getting that health benefit, and you want that health benefit. So
one thing I was just mentioned, I was reading an article yesterday and it made me think about both different light, but our epithelial tissue is the inner lining of the cardiovascular system. It's going to go throughout the entire cardiovascular system. So your arteries, capillaries, the heart, it actually lines the entire lymphatic system. And what happens is you start to increase circulation, your endothelial tissue is actually sensing that, and it releases nitric oxide. And I thought of you because obviously with working out, people are taking supplements, right?
Absolutely.
That are stimulating that.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing with you being a paramedic, right? I mean, you have somebody you're on site with a cardiovascular issue. You guys are administering
nitro.
Right. So you can naturally get this and train the body to produce that at a higher rate, which is going to dilate blood vessels, going to decrease plaquing. That's where you're starting. So like you said, the science is there, right? There's the evidence, the science, there's a lot of research out there, but it's something we could do naturally without having to take a supplement or having to get, our bodies to a point where we need this, from a paramedic.
Yeah. It's what we say in the fire world. If you can prevent the fire, that's the best way of fighting a fire.
Absolutely.
And that's a big reason why there's a lot less structure fires in the United States, is because of all the fire prevention codes and building it and suppression systems that will knock it out or stop it from ever happening to begin with. And that's the thing. I look at it the same way with disease. If I can prevent that disease or that injury or whatever it is, well, that's the best way to fight it or recover from it. So yeah, that's phenomenal points on the cardiovascular benefits. So the next one, I would say a big benefit for me, and I wasn't even looking for this when I started using one. It just happened.
Yeah.
Is skin health benefits. So Jordan, how does this help with our skin?
Absolutely. So just natural sweating. So being able to sweat, and I'm not just talking about I worked in the yard, I'm sweating, but I'm talking river sweating. Correct. That I stole that from you. River sweating.
Then, yeah.
When you have that dripping, oh my God, I can't stop it type sweating, that just naturally lubricates the skin anyways. So what you're getting now too is you're getting all the oils and things on your skin also remove via the sweat. And that's what helps with your skin health. So that's from a very simple perspective in terms of just being able to river sweat, get that benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Morgan, so if I'm river sweating in the infrared sauna, in a good health sauna, what is the results of that going to be? What am I going to notice about my skin?
Well, I mean, you're going to stimulate collagen, some of the topical type stuff like you're mentioning. I mean, you're getting the oils out of the system. A lot of times ladies are wearing a lot of makeup or lotions, things like that. That stuff gets into the pores and just kind of clogs everything up. So you're detoxing. But I think on a deeper level, obviously, there's studies out there, and that's part of the reason that the fire stations are using this, our product nationwide, is that we are absorbing chemicals, right, that are stored in the fat cells. And there are certain fat-soluble toxins that there's no doubt through studies have shown that we can release those: arsenic, cadmium, certain heavy metals. There's dioxins, microplastics.
Just look at, not to cut you off, go outside right now. What is outside in the air? It's all smoke, all Canadian wildfire smoke. Like you literally smells like you're right next to a burning building. And that's absorbing right into, we're breathing that in, we're storing it. It's absorbing right into our skin. And this is how we.
Yeah. So on a cellular level, not just topically, but also I think, you guys see this. Sleep is so important to both of you guys. I mean, you preach that with your clients with recovery. I mean, you can eat well, you can work out all you want. If you're not sleeping, and you preach this as well, you've got to get your sleep. And I think that the saunas help to regulate sleep, get you into with deeper sleep cycles where obviously rejuvenation and recovery, anti-aging, your skin's going to look better. You're going to feel better, and, not just internally.
Yeah. Sleep helps with recovery, huh, Jordan?
Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah, it's like your body kind of has, to give you a visualization, you ever watch Star Trek?
I have not. Many years ago. I know what it is.
You know what I'm talking about, though,
yes.
Where they're like in the ship and you have the commander,
yes.
You have the team, right?
Yeah.
Think about that as your body. And your body only has so many things it can accomplish. And obviously some things are more important than others, like keeping your heart beating or keeping your blood flowing or keeping your brain functioning. But a lot of times things like skin health, nail health will fall down to the bottom of the list. And if we don't get proper recovery and we don't get proper sleep, what actually happens is our body goes, I don't really have time for that right now. I only have enough energy to focus on these things. Mm-hmm. So instead of giving your body the capability to do 4 or 5 things on its to-do list, by recovering properly, you give your body many more things that it can do over the course of a day. So just kind of piggyback what you said. I think that's a really good point.
Yeah. So cardiovascular benefits, skin health benefits, sleep, which I always say is probably the number one thing I do. I'm very protective of my sleep, and my infrared sauna makes me sleep like a baby. It helps me fall asleep, but also if I wake up in the middle of the night, it helps me fall back asleep. We've established those benefits. Jordan, what would you say is another top benefit that people experience from using an infrared sauna? Why would I buy these?
Heat shock proteins.
Yeah.
Huge one. So we live in a society where we have to walk through the mud in a lot of situations, and we are constantly in an inflammatory environment all the time. And unfortunately, it's based on our food industry and what we put into our bodies, and you can't hide from all of that. Unfortunately, for some people, it's what's in what they drink. Unfortunately, it's, what's in our lotions and our soaps and our clothes. And we've kind of talked about that. What's in our air. All of that compounds into things that damage our cells. And we need to take every option that we can in order to help repair those damaged cells. That's exactly what heat shock proteins do. So if any of you guys are unfamiliar, heat shock proteins get released into the bloodstream when your body hits a certain internal body temperature. Depends on which research you read, anywhere from about internal temp of about sometimes as low as 100, but more like 101 to 103 degrees is when you get this release of what we call heat shock proteins. And the analogy I like to draw is you ever leave your clothes in the dryer for too long and you take them out and they're all wrinkled and you can't wear them the next day?
Yeah.
So you have to get out the iron and you have to iron out all the clothes, right? Think of heat shock proteins as your iron. So damaged cells would be like the wrinkled clothes. So the heat shock proteins come and they take these folded or damaged cells and they repair them. That's the basis for everything. That's the basis for helping yourself combat from borderline hypertension. That's your skin. That's your collagen. That's your muscle recovery. That's your improved lung performance. That's everything. It's just based on cellular health. Yeah. So for me, being able to unlock that ability is something that's very, very hard to find nowadays. And we are fortunate enough that we're alive during a period of time where we actually have something that can help.
Well, very well said, Jordan. So Morgan, what are we reducing our risk for when we get our heat shock proteins activated, and how do we do that? Is there any misconceptions, or is there any things we need to do, don't do? How do we get these heat shock proteins out there?
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways. I mean, a lot of people through exercise, if you're through vigorous exercise, cold plunging, basically stressing your body, right? Increasing the core temperature through a regular sauna. And, those are all there's a really good way to explain that, getting the wrinkles out, letting the cells function more properly, and those proteins either get taken out of the cell or be repaired. And there's, we talk to so many people now that are dealing with cognitive issues. You start to see Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. People just have, you're just not clear-minded throughout the day. Those heat shock proteins are also responsible for a decreasing likelihood of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. So on a cellular level, you're decreasing the risk of heart disease and autoimmune stuff and cancers. I mean, you name it, but also improving cognitive function. And I know that's part of the reason you like to do the sauna in the morning. And I think, having a kid now, I do it more in the evening, but I do prefer morning because I feel like I get out and you're high energy.
Yeah.
You feel dialed in, and it's not just for the next hour or two, like you've had an energy drink. It lasts throughout the day typically, especially the more consistent you are with that. So, it's going to be very subjective on when you have time to do it whenever you have time to do it. But I think for most people, getting that done in the morning just kind of sets the mood for the rest of the day.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I like to use it in the morning. My wife used to like it towards the end of the day. Now she likes to use it in the morning as well. Just find a time in the day to use it. Just get it done. Put it in your schedule and do not let anything disturb or interrupt that's part of your schedule. You have to use your sauna on a regular basis. So we're looking for a sauna, we're trying to figure out the health benefits of an infrared sauna. I've decided I want one. My spouse is still on the board, on the edge of getting one or not. I've established that by using one on a consistent basis, my heart health is going to improve. I'm going to get better cardiovascular function, better blood flow. I've established that I'm going to have softer skin, cleaner skin, better complexion. We're going to sleep better. We're going to get better quality sleep at the end of the night. I'm going to feel better. I'm going to recover faster. And then I'm also going to reduce my risk for a lot of diseases like cancer, stroke, heart disease, dementia, Alzheimer's, stuff like that via the heat shock proteins being released. I think we're missing one, and we got more benefits to talk about, but we're missing a big one. And it's one of the number one reasons people buy one of these. Can one of you guess which one we're missing?
I feel like it's harder when he puts me on the spot, right?
Pain relief.
Yeah, and I can't stop thinking about a heat shock protein production story that I want to tell about you, Eric.
All right. Let's hear it.
Get into it. So we travel a lot for work. We're on the road a lot, hotel to hotel, doing a lot of these state fairs. Eric of all the people we work with, I mean, I know everybody uses the product and benefits from it, but Erik, it's like a religious thing where sometimes I'll, day 20 into this show season and I'm going to sleep in a little bit. So Iowa, Spencer, Iowa, a couple years ago, every morning about 4:30, I would hear the ice machine running and running and running and running and running and running. And I realized like day 3 that what Erik was doing a sauna in his room in a little sauna bag. And then he was going out and emptying all of the ice machines in the hotel and taking those in and making an ice bath in his bathtub. And day 3, I heard it going on. And then about 6 o'clock, I hear this guy get up and he's just cussing up his God damn this place, we never have any ice and blah, 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 blah. We'll come to find out it was Erik getting his heat shock protein production stimulated. So
yeah. I remember
full
that.
commitment.
Yeah. No, it's for me, when I say the sweat fanatic, I am the sweat fanatic. Like I have to sweat every day. I love it. There's nothing that makes me feel better. And it's just part of my lifestyle. I've been doing it every day for 10 years, if not longer. And my wife's the same thing. The only person I know that may have sweat more than me is my wife, which is crazy. But it's so good for us. Just to give you an example on my background, I mean, I got 2 gym memberships. They both have hot rock saunas. I got an infrared sauna at my house. I got an infrared sauna at my firehouse. I have 2 traveling sleeping bags, infrared saunas. One broke. That's why I have a second one. I have a pop-up hot yoga dome that I can pop up and do hot yoga at my house. I go to 2 different hot yoga studios. Plus, my best friend's got a wood-fired out sauna outside and an infrared in the house. So it's like, I find a way to sweat.
Right.
Yeah. So Morgan, one of the biggest reasons people buy it, what is it?
Recovery.
Pain relief.
Pain relief.
Yep. So
true.
We're talking about a lot of benefits here. So I like to tell the story of my dad. He did concrete for 30 years and he is banged up. If somebody's been doing concrete for 30 years, they're hurting and has to take ibuprofen every day. A couple years ago, I'm like, Dad, stop that. You cannot take ibuprofen every single day. It's not good for you. It wrecks your insides. So he gets the 2-person hybrid from Good Health Saunas. And now he's like, I take ibuprofen maybe once or twice a month randomly. And it's huge for pain relief. So how does it do that, Morgan?
Well, I mean, like we talked about earlier, a lot of it has to do with increased circulation, right? Inflammation reduction, oxygen to the areas that are affected. Heat shock protein production can reduce inflammation. I think one of the biggest things that I've realized recently is I hate to stretch. Like, I mean, I competitively wrestled for years, played football, just active person. I was never the type of person I didn't like stretching and really getting warmed up before getting into, whether it was a workout or training. And now my body really feels that. So if I can get in the sauna, heat up for 10 minutes, get that direct heat, get some endorphins going, get that circulation going, it makes it actually enjoyable to stretch because you start to make progress. You can feel yourself throughout that stretching of the 30 minutes in the sauna or 15 minutes, whatever you're doing, that you're actually making progress. And that's helped me out a ton. My low back gets tight, hamstrings, those areas. You concentrate on those areas that are bothering you and take 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes to stretch while you're in there. So I think that also helps a lot with inflammation and pain relief.
Yeah. Every time I'm using my sauna, once the sweat starts flowing, I start to do like chair yoga. Some nice, easy stretches. I'm not doing a full-blown hot yoga class in my sauna. But I started out, I'm kind of just relaxed. I'm kind of guilty of watching YouTube for 10 minutes until my phone overheats, which is a sign of a really good sauna because there's a lot of saunas I've used. Your phone doesn't overheat. But once the sweat starts flowing, I start stretching and I feel like $1,000,000. So what haven't we talked about with pain relief yet, Jordan?
I think when we look at saunas, and I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that there's only one avenue of detox and it's via sweat. That's only one very small piece of the pie. And I think what people forget is what's actually happening deeper in the body. So our primary avenue for detox is going to come via blood flow. So we have things like inflammation that are resulting in joint pain, that are resulting in mental fog, etc. When we increase that blood flow to those areas and all areas systemically, number one, like we've already said, we're unloading a ton of oxygen into the body, which just helps with a lot of things, number one. But number two, a lot of times that inflammation gets transported out through kidneys and the liver. So being able to flush that out internally is actually really the primary driver for why these are so effective to begin with. And I think a lot of people just get a little confused by that, as to like, oh, they think, oh, I'm going to sweat out. Like you see like what beads of inflammation coming off of your skin. Like that's not how that works, right?
Mhm.
It's not like a different color, right? So we have to remember the primary driver is going to be it's simple. All these health benefits are completely derived on one thing. Your blood vessels expand under the heat. So your body's going to attempt to cool itself off from the inside as well. A good infrared sauna is going to increase our core body temperature. In response, those blood vessels are going to open up and get bigger. But what happens then is the increased circulation allows for things like inflammation to be decreased, things like toxins, microplastics, heavy metals, you name it. That's to be filtered out of the body. Now all of a sudden you're feeling better. Pain relief is really just a snowball effect of just everything else feeling better.
Mm-hmm.
Pain is a signal. It's our body telling us that something systemically is wrong. And just because your knee hurts all the time doesn't just mean that you're only suffering from knee pain. A lot of times it's actually indicative of a much bigger, wider problem. So that's where I think the pain relief ties into all this and puts a nice little bow over it. Is the pain relief is actually more of just a result of being healthier in general. It's a result of having just less systemic inflammation. Not having pain relief is your body going, hey, got to tell you anything's wrong. You go do your thing. So
yep. And
I think it's a really good way to tie that all together.
yeah, and the heat is just phenomenal. There's so many people that walk around at an event all day long, and what do? They're on their feet. You know their feet hurt. Morgan takes the carpet out of the sauna, takes their shoes off. They go in there. They sit in the sauna. They put their feet on the floor heater, and they're coming out in 5 minutes and buying the sauna because they're like, holy cow, my feet feel so much better. They always hurt. I have a job where I'm on my feet all day long. There's a lady at Iowa State Fair. She walking by with her husband, had no intentions of buying an infrared sauna. She goes in there. She puts her back on her heaters. She comes out 10 minutes later and she looks at her husband and says, my back pain is gone. Now that doesn't work for everybody that fast. It's not a magic switch but for her, it did. For whatever, I don't know what she had going on, but and they bought the sauna and talk to her afterwards, loves it, uses all the time. He uses it just as much as she does. So it's the heat, it's reduced. Our body's really releasing pain relieving hormones and endorphins to give us a natural pain relief. And it's the increased blood flow and all that type of stuff that goes along with it that we just talked about. So we've established that we're going to use the sauna. We're going to get better cardiovascular function, reduce our risk for heart diseases and stuff like that. Also, we've established that our skin is going to be healthier, smoother, softer, better complexion. We're going to sleep better at night, which helps with everything and just being happy. And we learned about the heat shock proteins, which is going to repair our damaged DNA and damaged cells to help reduce our risk for diseases. And then we're also, if it's going to help with our pain. So we're going to have less pain, and it's going to help relax us more and help with our joints and our muscles. What am I missing here? I know there's more out there. Detox is a big one. So we're getting out chemicals out of our body, but I think we touched on that. Am I missing anything? What else do we got here?
Just the mental wellness. There's a lot of people dealing with stress, and especially now with the way things are, everything's more expensive. People are stressed. People are working more. We talked about in the last podcast, we all have children now, things that I never used to think about, not just now, like how to support the family and make sure everybody's happy, but you're also looking down the road. So I think having 30 minutes, physically, obviously you're going to feel better, but if you can concentrate, focus, maybe do some meditation, bring some other things into the sauna that can help you to relax and just kind of refocus, it's a great reset.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Piggybacking off that, I think there's a psychological component to doing things that are hard. And this is not saying that the infrared sauna is hard, but when I use mine,
it can be.
And then just, I'll do a really brief overview of my protocol. So I'm a nighttime user. I use mine before bed. I set my sauna to about 110 degrees. That's where I start. I then jack my sauna up. I set it to 165. I have the hybrid in my basement, so I set it up to 165 and I rise with the unit. So when that sauna is at top temperature, there's every fiber in my body that is like, I need to kick this damn door open, right?
Mhm.
I need to flip the little vent. I got to kick the door open. I'm like, it's hard.
Yep.
And I tell my clients this all the time. And I say the number one indicator of success is your ability to do the things that you don't feel like doing. And the sauna is very easy to do because it feels good. But when you get to that top temperature and you push your body to a different heart rate, you push your body to that next level, and then by God, you go out and take a cold shower after that, there's a sense of, holy crap, I did something today. There's a sense of, hey, I did something freaking hard today.
Right.
And that feels really good. And I think there's a confidence builder with that. And I think a lot of people, they're just so used to failing over and over and over again. This gym routine doesn't work, and this nutrition plan doesn't work. I can't stay hydrated. This could be something that people can use that allows them to get this sense of like, hey, I actually did something good for myself today, and I got better today than I was yesterday. And we don't talk about the psychological component of that and what that brings to the table, but that is a huge thing for a lot of people that sit and they get just the crap kicked out of them every day. They don't have any confidence. They don't feel like they can get started. This infrared sauna could actually be a really good way to kickstart your routine as a whole. Now maybe you're confident.
Yeah.
Now maybe you're confident to go take that walk. Now maybe you're confident to take your kids with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a very under the radar health benefit.
Point.
Very under the radar.
You're exactly right. I say it all the time. The number one reason I use my sauna every day is for my mental benefits. I'm in a better mood. I'm a happier person. The real number one reason is the mental clarity. I think more clearly after using it.
Mm-hmm.
So at the fairs or at the events that we do, and you see me, we all use saunas throughout the year, and at the events, we all go and find our sauna to use. But why I'm so diligent with it and I do not miss a day is because I know that if I use my sauna and I get a deep sweat that morning, I am going to be sharper mentally. My words are going to come out smoother, and I'm just going to have a better day. I'm going to be happier. I'm more passionate about things. And it gives me that edge that fuels me throughout the day to be the best at what I can be. And it all comes from the sweating process. But even before that, what does our body have to do to produce sweat? It has to produce certain hormones and endorphins like norepinephrine, noradrenaline, dopamine, serotonin. It's a dope hit is how Luke says it. Luke says it all the time. It's a dope hit. So, but it's the healthiest dope hit you could pretty much take. So with no contraindications, just make sure you're hydrated. So yeah, so mental health benefits are huge. So yeah, we've touched on a lot of things: cardiovascular, reducing our risk, skin health, sleep, detox, mental health, pain relief. Does that sound like something that I would want to do? Yeah, it does.
Sounds like that to me.
Mm-hmm. So I think, is there any other health benefit you guys want to touch on before we wrap this up?
I think those are some of the main key things that we talk to, people about every day and that we've seen benefits from. So I think those are kind of a good, place to jump off for most people.
Yeah. Whether you have fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, Lyme disease, back pain, muscle pains, depression, anxiety, sleep disorders, you want to lose weight, you're trying to reduce your risk for heart disease and look better, skin health, like this will help you and this will work. It will work. So there's no ands or ifs or but about it. We touched on something in the last podcast I want to get into, and you teased it, and we're going to have to address it in this podcast.
Uh-oh.
So, and it's called red light therapy and an infrared sauna.
Do I have to?
Well, you promised it.
I did. I think I got a little passionate toward the end. I think
You did. So how do we want to go about this? So
don't do it. That's what I have to say.
Okay.
It annoys me. Like I'm all for, putting together a product that makes people healthy. But when you start messing with that and you start messing with people's confidence by providing products that aren't going to work, that's what gets me fired up.
Mm-hmm.
When you're prioritizing profit over somebody's ability to live well, when you're looking at health first profit and you prioritize profit over health, it annoys me. So when it comes to red light therapy, there's a lot of research out there that is very positive. And this is not a don't use red light therapy at all thing, because it's not. I use red light therapy. It's great. However, there's certain rules you have to follow. So you actually have to treat it just like the sauna in the sense of looking for research that's backed by a third party in order to make sure that the light is going to be quote unquote strong enough. So it's called a radiance is what it's called. So you need to make sure that the red light therapy panel is actually strong enough to be able to penetrate the body enough to get some cellular healing. It's used for that too. The number one indicator on your body's ability to absorb that type of light, assuming it's the right kind, is distance away from the body. This is where I get annoyed. So let's say you took the sauna back here and you put a red light therapy panel on the door. Well, you're going to be sitting, how far do you sit away in that corner? Like 2-3 feet?
Yep.
Couple feet?
Mm-hmm.
Every single piece of research ever made on red light therapy tells you that you have to be for sure inside of 12 inches. The red light therapy panel cannot be any further away than 12 inches from the body. Really, you'd like to be under 10. That's really what you want to be, but 12, we'll let that slide. You're 3 feet away from your panel. You really think that's going to work? You need to be inside of 12 inches?
No, you just ended up with a weaker infrared sauna because now you're taking power away from the heaters, which is the most beneficial thing you can put in a sauna.
You just made a $2,000 mistake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's just what you did. And the company tells you, well, hey, we're going to give you this red light panel. We're going to throw this red light there. Like, right?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, if I have a company that's trying to throw accessories at me, what does that really say about their confidence in the product? Right? Tells me that they don't believe enough in their product to just sell me on why their product's the best. They have to throw a bunch of bells and whistles at me to get me to go in a direction I don't want to go in. Buy yourself a red light panel, number one. Number two, make sure it's good, just like the sauna. Number three, use it outside of the sauna. And I know some of you want to try to do both at the same time to save time, and I get it. I got 2 little boys at home. I'm all about time efficiency. But if you're looking to do red light therapy and get the benefits from that, and you're looking to do an infrared sauna and get the benefits from that, then time efficiency you're not going to be able to achieve in the way that you thought, unfortunately. So that's my PSA on that. And the reason it miffs me so much is because it's something that people just don't see. And I think they're getting blindsided by this. And I think people need to be educated on why that's a horrible mistake to make.
Yeah, people are becoming a little bit more educated. I've noticed in the industry that people are learning. There's a lot of people that need to hear this and understand what you're saying. Mm-hmm. But it's a lot different than a couple of years ago where now people are reaching out to me and saying, do you put red light therapy in our saunas? No, we do not. We have chromotherapy, which is a little bit different than red light therapy, but we do not put red light therapy in there on purpose. And this is why. And they're like, oh, thank God. Yeah, I do not want a red light therapy panel in my sauna because they've read what you've just talked about. They've read some other things. Morgan, what's your feelings on that?
I mean, you get up some really good points, Jordan and Erik both. I think the proximity to those panels is probably one of the biggest issues. You're not going to get close enough to them. There's also a lot of research that shows that you really want your core temperature to be low because what happens is when you increase core temperature, you dilate your blood vessels, and that actually acts to reflect the red light therapy from reaching the cellular level. So core temperature is meant to be low as well. And I think you start looking at most of these. I mean, we've purchased a lot of red light therapy panels. We all use them. Most of them have cooling fans or cooling mechanisms, just like a computer would. So you start putting that in the sauna, and let's say even if it was functioning properly and giving you the benefits, which it's not, but it's not going to last you a long time. You want to use that externally, use it when your core temperature is low, get it close to the body. And, I think most of the people, if I had the choice of sauna or light therapy, there's no doubt it's infrared therapy over light therapy, 100%.
Absolutely.
Just because I notice immediate gratification, which is a big thing for me. I know that I'm probably getting some stuff out of the light therapy, but long term, it's something that I notice the difference immediately with the sauna. And that's what keeps me coming back. I'm less likely to use the light therapy because I don't see that immediate gratification. And I think most people that are buying the light therapy, it's more for anti-aging benefits. So there are masks, there's, smaller panels that you could save a little bit of money and use that, topically. You can even use that directly for joint pain if you wanted to. But a lot of people are spending $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on these machines where you're not even looking for the full body benefits necessarily because you're getting it out of a sauna. You could get the masks or other things. So
yeah, That's
Yeah.
exactly what my wife does. She uses a sauna every night for 30 minutes, for 10 minutes, 4 times a week for 10-minute sessions. She wears a red light face mask that covers her face, her neck, and her shoulders, and she enjoys that a lot. So there's 3 different mechanisms we're kind of talking about. There's infrared saunas and red light therapy, and those are not the same thing. And anything red light therapy does for us, we're essentially getting with the infrared sauna. There are some elevated skin health benefits that come with red light therapy. So if you do want to get those extra skin health benefits, do what they said, get a panel, use it outside of the sauna. You get a face mask, use it outside of the sauna. And then you have the chromotherapy as well, which we put in our saunas because it doesn't take too much power away from the infrared heaters and gives us some light therapy benefits as well. But that's it. So if you want the best infrared sauna in the market, Good Health Saunas makes it. Best reputation as well. So, all right. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Otherwise, we're going to wrap this puppy up.
Sounds good.
So
All good
awesome.
for me.
Great information.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, Morgan. I really appreciate it. It's always great seeing you. We're going to be together every day for 2 months straight coming up here pretty soon.
Uh-oh.
And then traveling the circuit. Jordan, as always, thanks for coming on. Valuable resource, and you give us a lot of information that's really beneficial. So
Much appreciated.
yep. That's it for this episode of the Sweat Fanatic Podcast. And until next time, get out there and sweat.